Hi aspirants, welcome to VISHNU IAS Academy. As part of the Prakriti program that we are conducting a free initiative on YouTube that covers the environmental video, that covers the environment syllabus compatible with UPSC and other state PSCs. Today we are coming up with one more video as part of this series. So today we are going to learn something about sustainable development. Sustainable development is something that is making rounds around the world, and many institutions, many individuals and many nations are fighting for this sustainable development, and we as part of India, we as India are also fighting for this. It is something that what you should learn about sustainable development. Sustainable development is something like a vast topic that you need to cover as part of your syllabus. But here I made simple points in order to make you understand what is sustainable development, what are covered under it, under which part of, under which institution, under which act we are going to take this and all. So here sustainable development is nothing but it is the combination of growth, social inclusion and environmental protection. Before the sustainable development, we used to have something called Millennium Development Goals. Actually, after that, we have to, as part of the sustainable development, I have already said growth, social inclusion and environmental protection are covered. Before this, we used to have Millennium Development Goals. What happens is, under Millennium Development Goals, we have something called as quantitative goals. But here, sustainable development goals is something like a qualitative goals. You know the difference between quantity and quality, right? So here it is nothing but a qualitative program that we have by our own has taken up to protect our planet. So what comes under this? For the first time, sustainable development has come onto the screen by Brundtland Commission, Our Common Future report in 1987. Under this report, they have termed something called as sustainable development. So, as all of us know, Brundtland Commission and its report of Our Common Future, they have discussed sustainable development in it. So, what is sustainable development? In simpler words, this is a definition of Brundtland Commission, but I wanted to tell you, in order to make it very clear, what is sustainable development. See, it is generally said that we adopt, we get our assets or we get our environment from our ancestors. It is nothing but we are just, grabbing it from our children. That means we are using resources in such pace that nothing will be left for our children to use. See, actually, let us assume that there were 100, something called as 100 units of environment were present during our parents. They have transferred it to us like 80% of it, and now we are using at that pace, which will, like, by the time it gets to our children, it will be somewhere around 10 or 5. That would not be sufficient for them to sustain their life. So these sustainable development goals are something like you have to follow these goals in order to maintain an equilibrium in the usage of resources. So here, what is the definition of Brundtland Commission? Development which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. It is that, there's a famous saying of Mahatma Gandhi, we have everything to meet everybody's needs but not anybody's greeds. This is a very famous saying. This is most apt to this situation because, if you go with the grid, just let us assume, if you are going to an office, generally, see, any given body, you can take a public transport if it is available and it is very near to your office. How many of us we travel to our workplace, educational institutions or anywhere by our own vehicles? Even if it is 1 or 2, we will use our own vehicle only. We don't think about the, we don't think about the fuel that gets into it, the contribution of ourselves to the pollution. We don't think any of it. We just see the resources are available, we are using it. We don't think about how many of us switch off the lights after using in a room. See, we don't generally give thought to these processes, but this will contribute in a very larger pace because resources are limited. When our ancestors have used it very qualitatively, that's why today we have at least some of the resources. What is the need for the sustainable development? It is at individual level, everybody should have a thought of using the resources in a very particular manner and in a conservative manner. This is the definition given by Brundtland Commission. In order to understand, I already said, resources are something that we are not getting it from our ancestors, we are just grabbing it from our children. This should be the thought process one should go on before using any resource. Okay. And next we see what is a necessity to have a sustainable development. What is a necessity? In order to do anything, we should question ourselves. See, when there are extinction of 1 million species that are going to happen in next few years, when there is rising sea levels, reducing of food production, water scarcity, rising temperature, everything, everything on the earth is at extinction, at the verge of extinction. See, these many things are happening and we don't bother. That's why we need to adopt some lifestyle process which will help to heal the planet. So that is why there is a need for sustainable. I said raising the temperature. Here you have to make notes. Okay, comment in the session what how many degrees of temperature have been has raised from last in the last 1 century. How is it affecting the environment? You should be telling me this in the comments. Okay, when I say there is an extinction of species is going on, when the sea levels are rising, when so many things that are that are harmful for the planet are going on, we as individuals are contributing more and have no thought of conserving the resources that are available. There is something called a sustainable development, a procedure that has been brought, these goals that we have adopted in order to save our own planet. So what are the goals? We will have a look. What are the global initiatives? At first we will look, what are the global initiatives that work for the sustainable development. See, Stockholm Conference, as I've already told you in the previous video, in which we have taken it, we have participated in Stockholm Conference. India has been part of it. We have signed it. And what was the outcome of this? I have already told you, environmental protection policy is the outcome of Stockholm Conference, and this is the first conference in which globally many countries have come together to discuss on the environment. So this is something a step towards sustainable development. And Brundtland Commission report at Summit was a direct outcome of this. Here, Global Tiger Forum, Paris Agreement 2015. See, any agreement you take, we directly or indirectly will be, the end result is something like it is for the sustainable development. It is for the sustainable development in easy words is nothing but use how much ever you want. It only for the survival, not for the luxurious life, and not for something like, don't waste the resources. We might not think, but just imagine, I already told you about water scarcity. According to a UN report, it says by 2050, countries would be waging wars regarding water. For water, they would be waging wars. Just imagine, a woman walking, many times in many programs, in many TV programs that, raise awareness, social awareness and all, you'd be looking women walking on barefoot, carrying some water on their head, walking miles for water, and, people dying out of, thirst, having no water. What is all this? We are very fortunate to have all these resources at our hands, and we are using it like recklessly. We don't, I find very few people, when I just go in my daily life, when I see people, very few are very concerned. We throw litter somewhere, it is not our planet, it is not our home, that is enough, we'll throw it outside. And if we have some water resources, it is like you don't switch off the tap when small drops are leaking, you don't bother of switching it off. And when you have this lights on in the room, and when you have the use, you will use it, and when you are leaving, nobody will bother of switching off the light or switching off the fan or any electrical appliance for that matter. How many of you participate in this earth hour that is being conducted every year? See, we have no that common sense that everybody should imbibe, is that use the resources in the limit, in a sustainable manner. See, many institutions, many NGOs are working towards it. Many governments are putting together. Many governments have come. See, we are now adopting renewable energy. We are going to solar. What is all this? Why we think only am I contributing to this? Yes. At individual level, everybody of us are contributing to it. See, when I talk of the sustainable development goals, you will just relate it to yourself, so that you will be remembering it very good. Okay. See, these are the few initiatives that talk about sustainable development. Next, we'll go for the further slide. Here, sustainable development goals are 17 in number, and target year is 2030. By 2030, we have to achieve these 17 goals. and we have 169 targets and they are not legally binding. This is a basic information. Even if you Google it, you will be able to find this information. Okay, what is important is that you have to learn all the 17. You have to remember all the 17 goals. Just let me tell you, not for this exam. These sustainable goals are to be remembered by every person who is living on this earth planet, because these are the basic goals that you have to, somewhere or the other imbibe into your life cycle. See, whenever UPSC or any state PSC for that matter in India, you are preparing for a government job. Let me tell you something. It should be a life changing and your pattern of living should change. When you learn things, you should be a better person, not the worst person. Anything that you learn, just imbibe it and follow it in your daily life. You will remember it for easy, and your thought process changes, and that will be reflected in your answers, your behavior. You will grow as a citizen. So here, when we talk about sustainable goals, it is that SDG 1 talks about poverty, SDG 2 talks about zero hunger, SDG 3 is about good health. But let me tell you one thing, whenever you write an answer on COVID, you will be mentioning about good health, and you can directly link it with SDG 3 or any, for that matter, any question, any given subject, you have to use this as a reference. So write the sustainable development goals list and stick it to your study table just in front of it, or wherever you see it daily, so that you will be, you will be accustomed to it. Need not by heart. Whenever you see again and again, link it up with different subjects, you will be able to remember all these things. So 1 is about poverty, 2 is about zero hunger, 3 is about good health, 4 about quality education, 5 is about gender equality, 6 is about clean water and sanitation. Like this, you have 17 goals. See, 7 is about affordable and clean energy. So what are we doing? Kusum, a program of renewable energy. See, these are the different things that you have to link. What is India doing for each sustainable development goal? Do we have sustainable development goal index in India? Who is conducting it? Who is preparing that index? See, 8 is about decent work and economic growth. 9 is about industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12 is about responsible consumption and production. 13, about climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice and strong institutions. 17, partnership for the goals. See, these are the 17 goals that are there. Any day you write an essay, somewhere or the other, you have to throw light on these SDGs. Any given day you write an economy answer, in the conclusions or in the introductions or in the body of the answer, you write about a particular topic. You can link with these 17 goals and write. That would, that would show you are more aware as a citizen. So when I tell you this, please remember, make a list and stick it, wherever you see daily, and just remember all this. And this not only for exam, but also in personal life, you have to be a person, be a responsible citizen of this planet, not of any country. As of now, please think you are a responsible individual doing all these things. So next we'll go. See, what are the roadblocks in order to, reach all these goals. Any given day, a coin will have two sides. So when you talk about these many positives, what is stopping any country from, adopting these things? What is stopping any individual from doing all these things? It is that sovereignty. That means environmental interdependence, economically, few countries are developed and few countries are underdeveloped. In order to adopt all these things, it is a costly affair. So when we come to the roadblock, this will play the major role. Developed countries are, they have contributed to the depletion of resources at a very faster pace, and now they are adopting environmental friendly procedures and they are going for sustainable development. What about developing countries who are still fighting with hunger, who are still fighting for their sustenance? So this becomes a big problem. And north-south divide. North-south divide is something like a country, the developed countries, they have, 20% of world population, but whereas they have used 80% of world resources, and vice versa with developing countries. Now, who is contributing, how much they are contributing? If you calculate now, developing countries will be at the loose. So what I say is, end of the day, it is all about, as countries, they all should come together. They should find solutions. Greta Thunberg and these people you might have heard. People, you know, at younger age are coming out, they're facing many health issues they have not faced before. It is because of the climate change that is happening. Who has done it? We as a generation together from last 1 century, or we have done it. So when people are coming out, when younger people are coming out and fighting for, they're asking for innovations. You know, at many world forums, there were many social media videos that I have been watching of late, that they have been fighting for the right to have a better environment. That is something not, you know, a younger generation should be bothered about. So we all have to put our thought into it to make the world a better place to live for the next generation to come. That is all about sustainable development. See, sustainable development as a, you know, part of your syllabus speaking, you should be very much, you know, you should be very concerned about what? See, any answer that would be written by any aspirant, the person correcting it is looking forward to have a positive, you know, positive conclusion, and they might be looking forward to have something like, you know, mindset that, you know, finds solutions. So when you write the sustainable development goals and what India is doing, comparing both the things and having a positive approach towards it, you know, writing better answers will come from your personality. So first change your personality, adopt things. When you read something, see, these are the things that are researched well and, you know, they have come up with solutions. We all have to do is follow them. So as personally, I suggest you just look after the goals, and also to make the notes, I have given all the goals and I have explained what is the definition, what constitutes it, and all, you know, international forums that have been, that are in, you know, in sync with the sustainable development. So here I conclude this video. So please, you know, please you have to read all the sustainable development goals. You have to remember all the 17. Even if I ask you in the sleep, you should be able to tell them. That is how much you should remember sustainable goals, because sustainable goals are something like you can include in any subject, for that matter in essay, in ethics, everywhere you can use this. So these are very important, and all the best. We will come up with more videos like this. Thank you.